We keep talking about when is going to be the end for Tom Brady. We obviously keep talking about his legacy. What will Sunday's outcome do for Tom Brady's legacy?
I don't think it affects his legacy. The fact that he's been to 9 Super Bowls, there's nobody even close to that. There's nobody even in the same realm. So whether he wins or loses, the sustained success that he's had, the performances that he's had in both wins and losses have been incredible. So if this one doesn't work out, at the end of the day, it's still a team game, and he is a major component of that, but other things have to go right in order to have team success.
Yeah, and he's in a team sport, and in team sports, there's nothing more horrific than even Tom Brady playing brilliantly, absent of the fumble against the Eagles. He throws for 500 yards. You're not supposed to lose a Super Bowl. So even in his losses, look how well he played. So it's beyond winning and losing with Tom Brady. All right? He's already the greatest quarterback that we've seen play the game. And and because of his overall commitment to his body, we've been able to enjoy him have this window open longer. But I know this, and through friends, losing that Super Bowl, it does something to you. They say, I've lost a couple NFC championship games, and they say as you go on in losing that game and after that, the Super Bowl, it gets even worse. Now, Tom Brady, yes, he's been in 9 of these, but he's also been on the side of it where you can't wake up in the morning, regardless of how well you played, because it is a team sport. Now, what he would go through, how much longer would he have to stay back out there to try to, if he leaves Atlanta 5-4? Because I believe that winning this game and losing this game will affect how much longer Tom Brady's going to play the game.
So 6-3 and 5-4 is a very big difference in the Super Bowl to you?
It's going to be different to him. I'm going to try to put myself in Tom Brady's place. What if he says, okay, I've been to 9 Super Bowls, but I lost the last 2. I don't think Tom wants to go out that way. So, no, in my eyes, he's still going to be great. But Tom talks about the personal scar that losing those. So let's try to build on that, because that's what he said.
And I can't obviously speak to the emotional devastation of this. I think it was great insight for Tom Brady talking about you lose one of these games, emotional scar tissue. I don't think he carries emotional scar tissue at this level for every season his team didn't win a Super Bowl. Like, no matter how good you are, even when you're on a dynasty like the Pats, you can't go into every year saying, well, we'll definitely win the Super Bowl. Nobody does. And so even if those are your expectations or what you want, so losing, as much as it sucked, I'm sure, to get blown out by the Ravens 33-14 in the playoffs, like, okay, that hurts. You get over that. Losing the Super Bowls, losing the undefeated season, like the way that wears on him mentally.
Like last year.
Like last year. But I also I'm far afield from most people as far as when I evaluate these guys' legacies. If Tom Brady finishes his career with a losing record in the Super Bowl, to me, his legacy will be enhanced from where it is right now, because that would mean he got to at least 2 more. And you cannot convince me that that Tom Brady's legacy would have been better. Let's say they lose on Sunday and he's 5-4 in the Super Bowl. It would have been better for him to have lost to the Chiefs?
No,
to have not. You know what I mean? To have not executed that overtime drive. Like, it would have been better if Dee Ford was onside, he throws a pick to lose that game, and guess what? You know what? Well, now he's 5-3 though. So I give you credit every round you advance. And so I try to convince people, if you look at it like medals, Tom Brady right now has got 5 golds and 3 silvers. He'd like to have 6 golds and 3 silvers, but 5 golds and 4 silvers is better to me than 5 golds and no silvers. To me, 5-4, if that's what he ends up, is more impressive than 5-0. Now, a lot of people still say Joe Montana, undefeated in Super Bowls. Well, did he not play the other years? Those teams lost. They just lost before the Super Bowl. So I don't hold championship losses against you more than I would a wild card round loss. I think it's impressive you got this far, because winning each playoff game is so incredibly difficult.
And I think you make a great point about the fact if they do lose, it becomes that much harder to come back. And we saw all the things that they went through and the scrutiny they were under last year, but they found a way to come back. And to me,
Great
what's
story.
so impressive about New England is this is the free agency era. This is where everything is designed for parity, where you can look at Joe Montana's time period, and it was easier to keep teams together. It was easier to maintain a talent base and create an advantage that you can't create anymore. You've got to go into each season with a whole, typically a significant part of your roster that's changed, and find a way to make that work. I understand what he's saying about the scar tissue, though, because the cruel thing about football is the wins last, the feeling only lasts for so long, but the losses never go away. You remember things so vividly, and you go back and think, what could I have done differently to make this outcome something better? And
Tom's been in games that are changed by a play or two. So those torment you more compared to I didn't have a chance. I'll try to give you two examples of two of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. And how history looks at them is different because of it's a matter of also not necessarily how many games you've been in, but when do you win them and when do you lose them?
Yep.
John Elway was 0-3, all right, in the Super Bowl. He was considered to be a failure. Then he gets 2 Super Bowl wins at the end on teams that were defensive dominant and running teams. They weren't on John Elway's arm. Jim Kelly, he lost all 4. Now, Jim Kelly, to me, is still one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in taking his team to 4 Super Bowls.
Do you look at that as successful 4 years or not a successful?
Well, he's not looked at in the same eye as John Elway, because John Elway, not only did he win, but when he lost, he got off the snide by winning 2 at the end. So for Brady, losing 2 at the end, it doesn't change is he the GOAT, but it does change. You would much rather have it flipped around, saying here that he lost 3 earlier, and then he was able to. That's why LeBron, to me, his greatest championship was what he did in Cleveland. That's why he's got to be able to do something else to be able to get to Michael Jordan, because it's going to be about the rest of the story. How did it end? It can't end with him losing
5 in a row. Like
yes.
Because he's right now he's lost since that championship 2 in a row. And so, but to the Jim Kelly and John Elway point, I think is a great one, because if John Elway had won his first 2 Super Bowls and then went loss, people probably look at him differently. I don't think that would be fair, but I think they would. When we talk about the Bills, they're almost like a punchline. That is ridiculous.
Right,
that team,
that's my point.
No, I totally agree with you. Like, think about how we talk about the Eagles that I think you covered.
Yes.
They went to 4 NFC championship games, only 1 Super Bowl. They are not listed on the teams that, they could never. They're a sidebar to that. So it would have been worse for the Eagles to have won all those NFC championship games and then lost in the Super Bowl. Like the Bills, if the Bills never got back there after the Norwood game, after, you lose a Super Bowl because your guy misses a field goal.
The worst way possible.
The worst way imaginable. If they had never gotten back there, they're not a punchline. Like, that is, we don't execute logic on these fronts. Like, this is something that, to me, when I say it, I can't. It sounds arrogant. I can't believe everyone doesn't agree with me just because it seems to me so patently obvious.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the worst way possible. I think Atlanta, that might be the worst way possible.
Oh, okay, blowing.
I think Seattle, that might be one of the worst ways possible, too. There's a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, your ability to deal with great success and great failure and come back and find a way to get to that point again is really hard. That range of human emotions that you go through, and then you start the marathon over, and you've got to fight through all those same challenges and somehow find yourself in this game again.
Coach, we're going to need you to come back tomorrow, forget everything that happened today, do this all over again.
No problem.
If you can somehow
I've already forgotten.
muster the courage. Oh, my God, me too. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.